What's the matter? You're losing me.
You're making me tear up. I don't know why.
Stop! This was not supposed to be a crying video.
I know, but when you say that about... We can do this.
You're being weird.
We can do this. Well, what's up, guys? This is Daniel and DJ from Arms Family Homestead, and we're sitting out in the merchandise shop, our garage, our home business, whatever you want to call it. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. This is something that it's exciting, but it's scary to talk about because no one talks about this stuff publicly, and there's just something that I feel like we need to share, and we're going to get it off of our chest as soon as I level out the camera a little bit. But you may hear some noises in the background today. We've got a little bit of construction going on. Several months ago we had a tree fall on our house, and it's just been temporarily patched, and we're getting a new roof put on the whole house, the whole old part of the house. But anyways, that's what you may hear in the background. Today's video is our story, our journey to
you go ahead.
Debt-free living and financial independence.
Yes.
It's we're gonna get through this. My wife and I have taken notes on a awesomely strange round piece of cardboard. So it's one of those things. I've talked about money and income on my channel in bits and pieces for a long time. When it was small income, it was much easier, you know, as things grow and build, and you know, it's been harder to talk about and harder to share. But in February of 2019, way back, I did a video. I'll leave a link to it in the description box. I greatly encourage you to go watch that video. In February of 2019, I sat in the greenhouse and talked about my YouTube income and my my financial situation and what I was going to do and what my goals were with our income from the internet, because I was working full-time as a state trooper, but my life on the internet was growing, my business on the internet was growing, and since then it's completely exploded. But I had some goals, and I set some goals publicly to hold myself accountable. And at the time, we were making about $1,500 a month on the internet between YouTube and Amazon and affiliates and sponsorships and stuff. And I was talking about I was going to pay off my truck that year, and I was going to tithe 10% of my online income because I had failed to do that the year before, and several different goals and things. And it just it felt good to get that off my chest, and it felt good to share it with the world, because I feel like we don't want this video to come across as us bragging. No. And we're not showboating at what we're doing or saying we have a special plan that works for everybody. No,
but we've worked, I feel like, very diligently over the course of our entire marriage when it comes to money.
Yes, absolutely.
This is a big deal for us.
This is huge. We've got something that we want to show you guys, we want to tell you guys about. We'll get to it later in the video. But so that video, go back and watch it. We just kind of laid out the framework of what our goals were. And we've always been huge followers of Dave Ramsey. We've never gone through the financial independence class, but we've watched every video he's posted on the internet for the last 4 or 5 years.
Several years, yeah.
And we took our own take on Dave Ramsey. I'm not going to say we did every baby step by the books, but we've followed his model as best that we thought fit our lifestyle. So if you want to go all the way back to when we first got married, when I was a state trooper, but just became a state trooper, and we were going to have babies, and my wife, we made a decision that you weren't going to work. You were going to be a stay-at-home mom. Mm-hmm. Kind of want to take it from there on what we decided to do with our income and our pay raises and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, which, you know, we knew it was going to be hard because, you know, 15 years ago, 16, whatever, he did not make much money. No. We did not have much income. It was probably not the best choice financially at the time, because we had a house in another town we lived in. We had to buy a house there, and when we were getting to move back here is when 2008 crash happened, when we're just listed our house for sale. And so that was a nightmare. And so that it was a struggle. I mean, we did not have much money. We did not go do things. We didn't eat out.
It was kind of like Dave says, rice and beans and rice. And
I mean, we weren't broke, but we did not have extra.
Right.
Anyway, so what we decided to do back then was every year for the first 7 years that he was on the patrol, they got, you know, an increase in pay. And
we're on a seven-year step up.
Yeah.
To get max pay.
Yeah. And so what we did with that money, that was the difference, you know, what we normally got and the increase, we just pretended like we never got that money and we just put it back in savings. So it's kind of like we snowballed our savings and the savings just kept growing. And so that was the main thing that we did.
And we would use that savings,
yes,
like when we had a big purchase, if we needed a refrigerator, if we had a vehicle, like a down payment for a vehicle or something big, we had that built-in savings we were always putting money into.
Yes.
That was always like a good safety net, a good cushion. This was way before before we knew anything about Dave Ramsey. And so we always had that. We lived on less than we made.
Yes.
And we never really dabbled much in credit cards. We never had a credit card issue.
I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
When I didn't know any better.
That's what I mean. Like in college, you had some credit cards and some credit card debt, but we paid that off pretty quickly.
Yeah,
That wasn't
it was a small.
It wasn't a large amount, and we never really got into the credit card issue and trouble. My dad was very, very, very adamant with me growing up that credit cards were the devil and you don't need a credit card. And I never had a credit card problem or debt problem there, but anyway, so we never really like had a mountain of debt.
I did have my school loan debt. Whenever I went to college, they pushed the loans. You know, I didn't know any better. They said, take these loans out.
The school basically talked you into taking the max.
Yes, yeah. So I took the max for my degree, and I never stopped or went back and forth or did any of that. But I ended up with about $36,000, you know, for a teaching degree, which, knowing what I know now, is ridiculous, you know, considering what teachers make in Oklahoma, and
the fact that you were never a teacher.
That I never, I didn't like it. I should have never gotten that degree to begin with, but I didn't know any better. I didn't have anyone kind of helping me, you know.
Right.
Anyway, so we did have the school loan debt.
So the school loan debt, when we moved back to this house, yes, this is the house that I grew up in, but it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. So we had to do a big add-on to make it a family home. And we spent with that and updating. Back then we had to buy all new appliances and stuff. Kind of sort of updated the kitchen.
We didn't have central heat and air.
We had to add central heat and air into the whole house, which was about 10 grand. We had to update the outside of this garage because it was falling down. We put metal walls and metal roof on it. Anyways, we had, with the add-on and all the stuff we did to pile everything together to make this our home, we had about, what, $120,000 loan?
Yeah.
And then several years later, her grandma was living in the house that she lived in for 50 years, raised her family and everything, and was probably 30 miles from us. And the family was wanting to get her closer. So we went out on a limb and purchased a home in town for her, and basically sold her place and used what it sold for as a down payment on that home. So she lives in that house rent-free with just the one payment when she sold her house. Yeah. And we were making payments on that house as an investment property. It seemed like a good investment for us. We got it at a good price, and we knew we could make money on it eventually. So we took out a loan for that house. So we had 2 house payments, some student loans, and not that we were in debt trouble, but we always had one car payment. It was either my truck or your vehicle. We flip-flopped. We did good on vehicles, but we would pay them down quickly. But we always had at least one loan payment. And then February of 19, you know, that video I told you about, I was gonna pay off my truck. We snowballed on that truck and paid that off in a year, and kept rocking with the internet and our online income. And you know, I always talked about side hustles. Everyone needs side hustles. You need something else besides your 9-to-5 day job. I watched a thing or read a thing one time that said your 9 to 5 will make you a living, but your 5 to midnight will make you your fortune. And I took that to heart. That's so true. We don't want to come across as this is just money grabbing, but so many of us get trapped in that 9 to 5 rat race, and you get trapped, you get stuck. You get a good job, a good career with a good pay and a good salary and time off and benefits, and then you go out and buy a house and 2 cars and a camper and a boat and vacations and all this stuff, and and you're living in a fine line of, here's my income, say it's $80,000 a year, but it cost you $75,000 a year to live. There's just not much wiggle room there, and that scared us. We didn't want to do that. We didn't want to be in that position. So the side hustle thing, you know, early on I was mowing lawns and she was doing photography stuff, and we had all kinds of different side hustles, and the internet opened up a whole new world for us. And then YouTube happened and started making videos and started making some income there. Then we figured out, oh man, you can do affiliate marketing and make money through Amazon and all these other companies and sponsorships. And then Facebook started paying and all this stuff. It became a business. And then that was what prompted us to push the merch thing, the Arms Family Homestead and the Creek Life merch. And it's growing this business to help our family become financially independent. Then COVID hit in 2020. And I know COVID was it still is a terrible, awful, bad pandemic for our country. But for the internet, it exploded because everyone was at home. And we happened to have a YouTube channel that had several hundred videos about self-sufficient living and growing gardens and producing your own food. And in 2020, when the pandemic happened, like, that stuff went through the roof. People were looking for ways to...
And I just want to throw this out there. If you don't think God has a plan, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sitting here just having this conversation, it just like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Like, he knew all this was going to happen, you know, and we didn't, obviously.
Had no clue. Yeah.
Years ago, like when you weren't even, I would say, serious, when the gardening was just a release for you. Yeah. So anyway,
I had no idea 3 years before the pandemic that I was making videos that would help people learn how to grow crops or learn how to keep their animals or raise their animals or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But 2020 happened for us, and our YouTube channel and our Facebook page exploded, like grew by leaps and bounds, which, to be quite honest, made our income grow by leaps and bounds. And we were big savers. We were...
Yeah, well, I'm not a spender.
We were big savers. Yeah. We did not like to spend our money as a couple. Some of us struggled. Yeah. But so, you know, then we started to learn you had to get into like taxes and all this stuff with online income. But we, you know, we're growing a business. It's growing tremendously. It's way outperforming my day job as a state trooper. And, you know, we got to a point where we had to make a commitment. Am I going to keep my job that I've had for 14 years or quit? And I walked away from the highway patrol almost 1 year ago. Like, we're making this video just a couple weeks after my 1 year anniversary, and that was a scary thing for us. But I told myself I wasn't going to walk away from that until I had multiple revenue streams set up in place as backups for that job income. And that's where, you know, YouTube AdSense and Facebook revenue and the merchandise and affiliates and sponsorships and all these different things that we branch out into are just our safety net. And COVID, I'm not even supposed to say that on YouTube, I don't want to get demonetized, but the pandemic allowed so much change for our family. Last year, 2020, we were able to pay off all of her student loan debt and that house in town that her grandma lives in, which is not a big fancy house, but still, we paid off $60,000 or $70,000 in debt. $90,000 in debt last year. Yeah. Thanks to so many of the principles we'd watched from Dave Ramsey. Yeah. And then, you know, we want to move forward. We want to figure out what our path in life is. But, you know, I've always wanted to be debt free. Yes. Debt free. Get out of debt. And so many people argue back and forth. I watch a good friend of mine in Pensacola, and I referenced him back in 2019, is Jack Motley, Yak Motley on YouTube. He does a lot of crazy stuff. He used to be a lot of fishing, and then yesterday he was eating the world's hottest gummy bear. But he does a lot of financial stuff, and through his Facebook page, I've watched him over the years. He was really big into audiobooks, and he would always post what audiobook he was listening to. And when I was working, I started downloading like every audiobook that I could find on finances and self-development and self-help and personal growth and financial independence, and so many motivational books on you can do this. And it just changed my mindset, and I have Jack to thank for that, because he really got me into those audiobooks and changed who I am and how I see the world and how I see money, and gets me out of that. It really got me out of that rat race mentality of being stuck. I thought, not that I disliked my career, but I was trapped in a job. No matter how much you like your job, you sometimes you get trapped there, and you got an income and you got bills, and your income just barely, if you're lucky, your income's just barely above all your bills. And we weren't living paycheck to paycheck, but we were never really getting ahead in life. So the internet changed that, and Jack changed that, and Audible and all the books. And I could give you a list of 100 books that I've listened to, and it just changed things. So coming into 2021, the only debt we had left
was our house.
It's our house, our mortgage. And I told my wife, I want to pay that off. And she's like, I do too, but don't spend all of our savings on it. And I was like, we got the money, let's just pay it off.
Yeah.
And I agree, we couldn't just go dump all of our savings. No. We couldn't do it. We were living on the internet, you know, and anything can change so fast. We wanted a safety net. So we just kind of had to keep plugging away this year and plugging away this year. And this year's been very great. God has blessed us tremendously. The merchandise thing we started back in November has done tremendous for us. You guys have blown us away at how much you've blessed our lives and how much God has blessed us to be able to do this stuff. It blows my mind. But I called the bank the other day. Yeah. PNC Bank, the last person on this earth that we owe a debt to. And you know, I'm not going to quote scripture, but the Bible says that the borrower is slave to the lender. And if you don't believe that, look up what an indentured servant is, and you'll see that you're a slave. If you owe someone money, you're a slave to them. They own you. Maybe not your whole life, but they own a small piece of who you are. And if you don't believe me, quit paying your house payment. Just don't make your house payment for 6 or 8 months.
Don't take Daniel's advice. Don't do that.
See where you're living. See who's in control of your life. Don't pay your car payment for about 3 months and see where your car goes. The borrower is slave to the lender. And so for my 37th birthday the other day, my wife said, what do you want for your birthday? I said, let's pay our house off. And that wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. It's hard. But so we called the PNC Bank and was like, hey, we want to pay our house off. And they were like, well, we can't do that today. We'll have to send you a payoff notice. It takes 5 to 10 business days to get to you. And then you're going to have to go to your bank and get this and this and this, and then mail in a payment, and it'll take another 5 to 10 business days. I'm like, you don't want my money right now? You don't want my money? I'll pay you everything I owe you.
Yeah, we worked up the courage to call and thought we could do it. No.
Yep.
So then we have to drag this little process out. But
so in this envelope is a cashier's check for what?
80.
Well, I wasn't going to say the amount.
Oh, well, you don't
$80,000.
Oh.
To pay off our last debt that we owe no one else in the world a penny.
Hang on. Do you want me to not say that?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just wasn't. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for. Hey, what's in there? Our last debt. Anyways. Oh. So, as of making this video, we are debt free. You know, so we've watched so many people go on Dave Ramsey and do the debt free scream. I really want to take my wife to Nashville because she loves Nashville, and go to Dave Ramsey and do a debt free scream. But we were talking about it the other day, and she's like, "But I feel like we cheated."
Yeah, part of me feels like. I mean, not all of me, obviously, because we've worked very diligently and hard for many years, long before YouTube. I mean, I used coupons a lot. A lot. I'm still very frugal, even with the money we make now. I'm like...
She buys used mattresses.
What?
We've gone to people's house and bought mattresses. Not the newest one we have now, but in the past, we've gone to places and bought people's used mattresses.
It wasn't just random gross people. Don't do that. No.
But...
I'm very frugal, yes. I get made fun of by my friends all the time, but... I mean, we still take our used clothes, or we donate them, or I take them to a consignment store. I mean...
We still buy clothes at consignment stores.
Yes, yeah.
Like, not all of them, but we still shop at the consignment store.
Yeah. So, but it's still like, I don't know. You know, I understand a lot of people don't work in a place that, you know, can make the money that we make right now on the internet. So, you know, it kind of is kind of weird, but either way, the weird feeling now that I'm getting is, oh, like we don't have a payment. I don't know. It's just super like surreal in a way because we're not even 40 and we just paid off our mortgage and we have no debt, and so it's a little weird. Like,
there is a little bit of guilt.
Yeah.
Honestly, there really is, because we still feel like we should be in the same rat race that we used to be in, that we feel like most Americans are in. But we don't want to make this video to showboat. We want to make this video to challenge each and every one of you that owes anyone in the world any money at all. Like, no matter how big or how small. Yeah. Like, you just got to start somewhere. You can do it. Yeah. You can do it. You can be debt free. And then once you get debt free, that's where I feel like we went from like negative to zero. Like, we've made it to like ground zero. And that's not our end goal. Like, to me, like, we've made it, but we still have bills. We still have things we have to pay for, and we still have expenses. So in a sense, we still have to work. It's an unconventional job. It's on the internet. It's not a normal 9-to-5 job like most people have, but we still have to work and we still have to make money. So our next, you know, going forward, our goal, I feel like, is financial independence, to where our investments make enough money that we don't even have to work unless we choose to. But this job, what we do on the internet, is so much fun, and we're truly blessed, and I know God has played a huge hand in it, and we wouldn't be where we are without all of you and God. I mean, it's crazy. I never dreamed we'd be in this position. I never dreamed we'd be sitting here making this video that's much harder to make and much harder to put out there to the world than what you would expect. I'm sweating. There's a lot of anxiety, and it, you know, part of it, I feel like it's judgment. We don't want our friends and family and people around us and people in our area to feel like we think we're better than anyone, because we're not. No. We just worked our tails off and got extremely lucky in a business that was successful at the right time in our life. I don't like the word lucky. I don't like that. I said we worked our butts off. Well, I know, but then you said lucky, and I don't like that word. Well, because I don't believe that. I looked on the Social Blade today on socialblade.com, and it shows all your statistics on YouTube. We had 999 videos. So it took us, this will be like 1,000. This took us our 1,000th video. How crazy is that? 1,000 videos on the internet, and probably 5 years of nose to the grind hard work on the internet, plus, you know, years before that. But, you know, when I was working a full-time job, I'd shoot videos during the day, go to work in the evening, and edit from 11 to 2 a.m. and then be back up with the kids the next morning. I mean, we worked. It's not just luck. Don't think it's just luck. I'm not saying that. Yeah, no, and during all that time, you know, I was still with the kids and working myself. Yeah, I mean, pursuing the photography stuff full time. And that was, you know, a lot of times he would get home from work in the evenings and I would leave. So he's trying to make a video, trying to do supper, the homework, and, you know, which was fine. I was fine with that, you know. But, you know, so there was a lot of work, a lot. Yeah, there still will be. Yeah. So we've reached one finish line, but we're not done. We're still gonna go. We're still here to help you guys, to encourage you guys, and we're not experts by any means. Don't think we've got degrees and all this stuff. We've just got School of Hard Knocks, and YouTube has taught us so much, and Audible, and friends and family, and we've learned just so much. But anyways, our last debt is paid. I'm looking at our notes because back to our pizza box looking thing here. Financial freedom is achieved. We're going to start working towards financial independence. Yes. In our own way. But you had a song that you want to share. Yeah. So my song is by Dierks Bentley. It's called Living. It's one of my favorites. I just love it. Basically, are you living, or are you just here? You know, are you going out and enjoying your life, like actively, purposefully enjoying your life? Are you living? Are you talking to your friends and family and building relationships? And or are you just sitting back like a passenger? You know, are you living life, or is just life living you.
Yeah. So in the song it says, some days, oh my gosh, I just lost it. Some days you're just breathing, just trying to make a living. You don't have to live like that. You don't. If you make a choice, make a plan, and stick to it the best you can. Sometimes we have to deviate and come back, but because, you know, life happens, but live. Just live. That's the one thing, you know, Dave says. It's like my favorite quote, and it's the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, I like that. Let's do that. And Dave says, live like no one else today so that you can live and give like no one else tomorrow. And I'm so stinking excited that that's where we're at. Like, it just gives me goosebumps to think about what we can do and who we can help. And it's just, I just love that. That's kind of what I do anyway, because, you know, that's what moms do, especially for our kids and our family. And what's the matter? You're losing me.
You're making me tear up. I don't know why.
Stop! This was not supposed to be a crying video.
I know, but when you say that about Dave and where we're at, it just, I can't even. We were never in a lot of debt trouble. We've never been in a financial problem, but I can't explain to you guys the feeling, the pressure lifted off of our shoulders, and the pressure just walking away from a career that was such a good career for so many people, and taking a chance on the internet and wondering, is this really what God wants me to do? Is this the path I'm supposed to take? And the blessings that came so fast from following what we thought was what God wanted us to do is incredible. You know, I don't mean to cut you off or interrupt you, but
it's okay.
When you said that quote by Dave, I've heard it a million times, you know. Live today, live like no other today, so you can live and give like no other tomorrow. Like, I can't tell you how many times we shared a meal at a restaurant and our friends laughed at us. You know,
we still do.
We still do, but seriously, like, that may have only saved us $10, but it was the concept, it was the thought, it was a mindset, and you know, I don't want any. What I want more than anything else in life is for everyone to experience that freedom, that peace.
The peace. It is just this.
You can do it. You can do it. We did it. We're here. We're a living example, and we're not bragging. We're not showboating, but it's such an emotional thing, and I want that for you guys. I want it for everyone. Don't be a slave. Don't be a slave to the lender. We need to wrap this thing up because I wasn't wanting to make a 30-minute video, and I wouldn't want to sit out here and cry, but we're debt free. Yeah. How's that feel to say?
Sounds like hashtag debt free. Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, maybe we will make that trip to Nashville.
I think we should. I mean.
So, anyways, guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up right here. Is there anything else you want to say?
Go listen to that song. It's amazing.
Living by Dierks Bentley.
Yes. Yep.
And
try it.
Whether you like Dave Ramsey or not, just listen. Just listen to him.
Yep. It's
crazy. We did it. We're here.
Yep.
We're not done. We're not finished. We love you. We thank you guys so much for blessing our family and letting us take you along on this journey that we call life. And we're trying to live it to the fullest.
Yep.
So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helps you. I hope it challenges you. And I hope we didn't come across as we're above anyone or better than anyone, because we're not. We're just typical, everyday, normal sinners on this earth trying to figure out our way.
Yep.
So we'll see you on the next video.
Bye.